There has never been a more confusing time. If you look at what's going on with the on again, off again war, and you look at what's going on in the markets up and down, you would think to yourself that we are living in bizarro world. But yet, right now today, things, if you ask some people, have never been better. I'm going to show you in today's video what has happened with the collapsing Japanese currency. You will look at the $40 trillion of US debt, and then the statistics which tie everything together. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. My name is David Quintieri, also known as the Money GPS. Been doing this since 2011. Some people were in diapers when I was doing this at the beginning in the early days. And the first thing I wanted to share in today's video is really front and center. Scott Bessent is using moves from his hedge fund days to prop up the Japanese yen and America's $40 trillion national debt. It's important to see this for what it is, and that is entirely, when you look at it on a global scale, currencies have no value. And that is, of course, when compared to real goods. If you compare them against one another, yes, the US dollar looks real strong compared to the yen, but we're really just splitting hairs. The US debt at 40 trillion signifies something great, and that is the US is able to consume as much as it wants without the repercussions. Other countries like Japan can't do the same thing that the US has done. It's important to note here that this doesn't last forever, but in the meantime, we'll party like it's 1999. If you look at what's happening in the markets, clearly things are looking very good because at the time of this recording, the markets are up in the green and things are looking real healthy. Well, of course, as long as you don't look at many of the indicators, just look at the price. This is from the moneygps.com and allows us to look at the sectors because you have to take a what I call 30,000 foot view, and you come from the top down. And I chose Apple because that's one that I had covered in the previous video. We'll look at that. We have to understand this from the top down in order to know what's going on with a particular stock. So we take the broad market, in this case S&P 500. Then we look at the technology sector itself. How healthy is the sector? And then we could look at that particular stock. Many of the different numbers that are there, 200-day moving averages, simple things. Okay, we're not doing a deep analysis at this point. We are simply looking at the basics. Before I can even go into that analysis, I want to be able to tell from the top down, how does it look? And so with Apple, isn't it interesting that it's been flowing in these different directions than all the other tech stocks? It's very interesting. So this was a few days ago. The S&P 500 erases all gains and turns red on the day as the 10-year note yield surges to its highest level since January of 2025. Now, I wanted to make this clear. What happens here often is that these are inverse. When you hear yields are going up, it usually is bad for the markets. Depends, and every day is different, but usually this is the case. Why? It's because it's showing us that there is worry. Maybe it's inflation. Maybe there's something bad happening, and the yields start to rise. In fact, when you got lots of debt you can't pay back, yields can rise. If you look at many developing countries, weaker countries, their yields have to be high in order to attract, those buyers. Otherwise, they're not going to get that. They're not going to get that. So they have to say, okay, we're not going to give you 4% or 5%. Maybe we're going to give you 10% because there's a higher risk. That's the way that works. And so it is a very good signal of what's happening. Short term, I wouldn't bet on it, but you could look at it over the medium term and realize trends. Michael Burry, the big short, bets against the rally. We are near a major top and possible a 1987 type fall. I continue to believe it's possible we're near a major top, possible 1987. The S&P 500 had jumped, of course, stronger than expected corporate earnings, and another drop in oil prices. Now, the oil price is funny because even when there was a re-escalation, and at the time of this recording, there were explosions in Dubai yet again. And I believe it was on the Palm Jumeirah and Jebel Ali. Both of those areas reported some explosions. We don't know, of course, because there's a lot of restrictions. This thing is still hot, and yet oil is kind of like, whatever. That is an extreme risk. Why? Because if this turns around and they say, forget it, we're not negotiating more, we're done, and then the price goes from, let's just say, $80 a barrel to $90, $95, $100 in an instant. It's better that it happens slowly. Anyway, Michael Burry, you would say, you know what? This guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about, constantly talking about this. He's known for the big short, but in most cases, he doesn't short. See, for Michael Burry, he bets on the down. He bets on the up. He doesn't care. He's completely agnostic to it. But people don't know that. They just use the same line over and over again. I would just pay attention. This is the bull bear indicator, okay? You can look that up. Bull bear indicator right now is basically at a record high. Going back a while, we don't get these too often. And at least in the last few years, it's at a record high. Extreme bull. Now, what happens when we get these instances is that it tends to reverse. Now, it doesn't reverse and crash into the ground. It just means that it's very, very difficult to sustain momentum like this. It really is. And so you just have to pay attention closely and watch out. That's all I'm saying. Now, when we looked at Apple previously, I showed you specifically over the last while where it had gone, okay? And when we note right now, like what happened? A few days ago, this thing was riding high. Why was that the case? Apple's not investing in AI. Apple is, staying out of it. They didn't put all their eggs in one basket. They're a services company now, whatever the the flavor of the day was. And as a result of that, the stock actually did well, very well, while the others were struggling. So strange. And then it went down hard, very hard. And we're looking at the Bollinger Bands. That's that line right there. If you can see that, this is the top line. This is the bottom line. It actually fell below the Bollinger Bands. Now, what have I told Finance Friday? Finance Friday Live, every single time when we look at the Bollinger Bands, we go in depth on it. And it's very important to look at that. It fell out. What do we know when it falls out of the Bollinger Bands? Right here, it happened, but this is even worse. It tends to go the other direction. This is just the way it happens. And I covered that in the last video, and it was like clockwork. It was like clockwork. And so when you use the tools that I have, that I present you with, here this is at the Money GPS, you are able to see things other people cannot. It's just a matter of fact. I wanted to show you what's going on quickly with the Strait of Hormuz because, as I said, oil prices, they're not reflecting the potential risk. That's a concern. The bond market has that, relatively priced in, still very high, even though it's not at a record high. I want to show you this. So what the proposal that's happening now is that 2 countries are going to be dealing with this, not 3, not 4, not others. Oman and Iran are basically going to settle this between the 2 of them, and they're going to reopen the strait. And then they'll deal with the U.S. later. I think Iran is basically saying, we'll get to you later, which is just wild. But they want the straight open. Of course, Iran wants the straight open. Oman wants the straight open. Qatar, Saudi, and every other country wants the straight open. And so it seems like they're going to do that. So the way that it's going right now is basically that Iran wants all of these ships to travel inside of their territory, which is right near Qashem, right here at the top. And this is, if I'm not mistaken, Lavan Island. And you got to come way up, pay the toll. I think they said now there's no toll, but there's like a fee or whatever. I don't know. It's just kind of strange. But anyway, and then you come back around. When they come back around, you actually go below that, but it's still in the territory of Iran. That's the way they want it. And we'll see what happens. That means if this occurs, that Iran basically has full control over the strait. They'll have even more power over the strait than before the war. And I think really what this comes down to is that the US, they want to make sure that Iran's not going to have the nuclear, and that's it. That's really what this is all about. Kind of strange. But anyway, when we look at what's going on with the markets, I just want to quickly go through a couple things. The four horsemen of the bubble apocalypse: extreme overvaluation, widespread bubble beliefs, a surge in equity issuance, and a flood of new market participants. So we're getting all of those right now. Like, this is the investors who admit that the price is too high, but they expect them to rise anyway. That's what everybody's saying. I'm watching like a lot of mainstream now, trying to get the insight from those people. Everybody, all across Bloomberg. I'm listening to different interviews. They're all saying, yes, things are crazy. Yes, it's overvalued, but I am all in. And they know that if you print 40 billion, dollars a month, and you got 40 trillion in debt, it doesn't just end like that. It's not the way it ends. It ends in confetti. That's the way it ends. It's not like, oh, things are going to crash tomorrow and everything's going to go back to the way things were. That just doesn't happen. They devalue the currency and punish people painfully. And I think actually AI is going to result, as much as I use AI all the time, I think it's going to result in mass unemployment. And that's when things will get wacky and a deflation potentially, and a painful one. So you got companies like Amazon, $3 trillion market cap. And this guy over here, Tom Lee, who's hilarious, he just makes he's always making sure that his prediction is the highest. Like he said Bitcoin would be, I think, like probably 8 months ago he said it would be at 250,000. Kind of funny. Stocks could soar in August. Yes, they might, but not because he said so. And I just want to quickly show you just one cool fact. Nuclear reactors currently under construction by country. China has 39 under construction. How many are in the country you live in? That's the question, really. Like, you look at some of these places who desperately need energy, and they aren't building enough, whatever type of energy. We need more energy. That's what we need. The prices are going to skyrocket. People will have to make the decision. Do I put the extra sweater on and the extra blanket, or can we afford to turn the heat on? That's what's going to happen this winter. Look, if you want to support this channel, hit that thumbs up button. If you want to get the absolute best financial software that exists, themoneygps.com, go there, check out the free stuff. Lots of stuff. Right here, you could type in the ticker of your choice and get a limited sample of the AI stock analyst and kind of just pull some cool stuff together. I got all kinds of tools, including the supply chain stuff, which is all in here. This is really just a limited kind of just a view. It doesn't really do much until you go into the app. Really, really amazing stuff. There's 129 features in the app, and I want to see you over there. Do not forget to hit that thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. So many people tell me every day, I thought I was subscribed to you. What happened? Every day. They don't want you to know the information, but I'm here to share it with you. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.